After the noise we've heard, I think I feel very encouraged by Carzzy at the moment.
I was feeling Lyncas' vibes when he was singing along. I was like, that's the kind of jungler I want on my team. Just living his best life, you know, hair down, shaking it in the wind.
the comp, the next level. Let's get to pick ban. Kai'Sa Vitality and Kai'Sa on the blue side here. Pantheon straight away taken away. And it feels nice when I think Lyncas very good on his skirmishing junglers, and that Pantheon seems to be a good trade for 1-2 on red side at the moment.
Now kind of surprising to me. I didn't expect that to be one of the bans that came through on KC's side, but we'll have to see what the game plan is. Either way, Azir more than likely going to be taken away. We're still looking at things like the Taliyah can be gone as well, and even Gwen still available. So there's a lot to look at as we start to go through this next couple of ban phases.
Especially when Canna has been a bit of a tank player. Sion, Cassante's most played, so if Gwen is left open here, KC, if they don't pick it up first, they will lose out on that opportunity to play a safe tank early on. Now, Jarvan's gone as well, top jungler at the moment, especially when we have a lot of more immobile carries.
So if I'm KC, I'd probably try and ban away Gwen here on blue side.
Okay.
That means that then you leave yourself open to a potential Rumble first pick and you have a decent time into that matchup there in the top side. The Ziggs ban, though, says that they're actually prioritizing the Azir more. Remember, Czajek brought out that Ziggs is an answer into the Azir.
Yep.
So unless this Azir is banned away, you probably see this on this next rotation.
It's interesting. Yeah, again, we don't normally see that many Ziggs bans, so a bit of an obvious fish. You mentioned, you know, I'll keep the Gwen in the back of my mind as well. I'll keep a support option there too, I guess. Dagda, let's just hold, wait and see. Rumble, ban. Wukong instead. Okay, Rumble, you said that is open. Is there as an option? Azir as well. Take your pick.
Yeah, the Ziggs signals they want the Azir. Actually, the Yunara they're going to go for. Okay.
Did you see that?
So, for Czajek, you could probably take the Azir here on this next rotation. And then if you want to go into the Rumble, fantastic. Canna has answers into it though. He's already played like things like the Galileo into it. But for KC, definitely opening up for more of a team fight, strong front line is more than likely where you're going.
Yep.
Which could even go for things like the Sion, which are also left up and available. I think that's kind of the thing about this patch. There's a lot of very strong picks in the individual roles, and it's more kind of how do we steer our composition into the direction of some of the stronger picks.
And when we're still getting lane swaps, it's really nice to see that there are a lot of tank, like surviving options in the 1v2, right? Like we still get that grub lane swap. We still get options at 4:30, 5 minutes in. Not as often, but it's still in the meta. Xin Zhao is going to be the jungler of choice for Lyncas in this first game. He's played one different jungler each game with the Taliyah pairing. It's a strong mid jungler to be sure. Vitality's game one.
Azir is still fine for me here for Vladi. I think you're happy. It does well into the Taliyah.
True.
And then you'd like something, probably the Trundle, to be honest, just to try and fight against the early attack power that Xin Zhao has, especially when it comes towards those early skirmishes. And from there, KC, again, just lean in towards potentially a tank in the top side for Canna, and you're happy out.
Then you have a good front to back for KC, and if I look at KC, I think that's one of their strengths. We talk about their team fighting. They feel like they're McCoy right now. Definitely feel like one of the most fun, team fighting teams. KC seem a little bit more routine. What's the word I'm looking for, Dagda? You know English better than me.
I think KC have just shown that they are one of the strongest teams that we have. And when it comes to those late game team fights, their setup is really strong. Their coordination, really how they rally around Targamas with a lot of these strong engages, particularly if he can get his hands on something like the Nako. And it's kind of MCOY at times. I think that was an incredibly close series, came down to the wire, but KC just able to cinch it right at the finish.
So now what's the option here when we look closer into the game itself? Rumble was picked up, but Nako, so far, it has been tank options or the Ambessa. Ornn has been played once, and that Ambessa has two. Now a second, and better lining up with the Taliyah, or rather, should I say, Xin Zhao, as a skirmish option picked up for Vitality.
We've started to see this Taliyah Ambessa a little bit more often just because it gives you such good side laning.
Yeah.
And then the option to send people in towards the back line if you want to. The options to cut off members in the fight as well and set up for these really strong skirmishes where both Taliyah and Ambessa can actually do relatively well because they're very good at kind of focusing down one of those targets with the CC that they both offer.
Now we look at bot lane. Oh, the Jackspektra of lanes. Carzzy, what's his option going to be into Yunara? I mean, again, we were talking about like the Ziggs and maybe some long-range options. Aphelios, Jinx have come to mind. What about yourself?
I really like the Zipper here for Vitality. I think you have good wave clear. You've got the opportunities to kind of speed up multiple members here.
Yep.
And also the chase down and catch potential with the long side of Taliyah and Ambessa. I think can work really well here. Otherwise, at least what KC are looking at is, hey, we can go for, all right, they want something that's a bit more self-peel reliant. Rakan can also work in the Vitality composition as well. So maybe that's what they're going to ban away here on this next rotation.
Let's see, because, I mean, if you get rid of, like, Xayah or Rakan, either option's nice. I feel like Fleshy and Carzzy on those individual champions has been insane. Fleshy's Rakan game was nuts. Only yesterday. I think he played one hell of a series as we get that final ban away. The Trundle you mentioned, I'm glad you did bring that up. That's now taken away too, by the way.
The other option for KC, is actually, I wasn't going to say the Nautilus, I was going to say the Aphelios. We've seen the Aphelios taken into the Yunara just to try and match that scaling, even if he can get poked out a little bit in lane. But Vitality now, what's going to be your option here?
I like when you ask questions, Dagda. It gets me asking questions. It gets everyone at home asking questions. And they say, the question is, how far can we send the dive? Vitality fully committing now. And not only are we picking off, I mean, they're just going to send it. Simple.
It is a bit odd to see the Kai'Sa for me, though, because traditionally you'd see it with a Nautilus or something that enables backline access, even a Wukong, or something that something that wants to dive into the backline, Kai'Sa shotguns in, and you try and assassinate someone. But you don't really have those tools here. Like, sure, you've got the Ambessa who can try and do it, but it's less ideal than something that's a bit more point and click. So I thought they'd end up going for something that's a bit more, hey, wave clear in the mid lane, try and win that mid lane skirmish, and we can then lean into sides.
But what do you think about this? There's a Poppy here for disengage, Bard for long range engage. Rakan feels like he can follow up a little bit easier. Where do you slide?
I'd rather something like a Rell in this position. I think having something that's a bit easier to, sorry, not easier, but tankier.
Snap engage as well, right?
Right, yeah. It's just the problem with Rakan is that you kind of want something that enables him to dive into the backline.
Yeah.
Something that can't play frontline is the Poppy in that sort of situation where you jump to Poppy, then go for the all-in, but it's less ideal than, say, something like an Analyst or a Rell.
I think you're right about that as well. So the engage not as, I guess, sudden, as straightforward. The Rell's just going to be taken. You said for Vitality, you know, a way to get the backline. I guess, you know, Rell doesn't do that as much, but at least there is some reliable engage for the shotgun you talked about earlier on.
It's just, when I look at KC, there's pretty long range. Both Yunara has decent attack range.
Yeah, she does.
And you've got the Azir. You've got the ability to reset fights really well with Poppy and also this Azir shuffle. So for Vitality, I think they're going to struggle to gain access to some of these carries. The good news is, apart from the Poppy, no one on KC is actually particularly tanky. So if Vitality can get onto someone, they can very quickly snowball that into a victory.
All right, well, Vitality bring out the risk, though, but for their game one, when they've just slammed Na'Vi into the ground, it is nice to see that, you know, Carzzy willing to play something like the Kai'Sa that will take a bit of scaling up to do, but can really carry these fights. How do they get into KC? The question's now been asked, and hopefully Vitality have an answer. They are the underdogs coming into this series for obvious reason, for the fact that KC have already locked themselves in a top 2 spot. Today, the chance to lock themselves in number 1 of the group as well. And when you get the choice of the second team in the other group, it's so nice, right? Because you're arguably versing a worse team, and you only need one best of 5 to get your way into Worlds. If you have a chance of versing the second seed out of Group B, or alternative group, excuse me, that's a dream come true. It is Group B. So they'll face off against G2 or Fnatic at this rate.
Still not easy on either side of the equation, but...
No, but...
You definitely want the supposed weaker one of the two, whichever way that goes.
I mean, if G2 win today as well and lock themselves in, then I'd be like, yeah, I'll take Fnatic, because Fnatic versus G2 wasn't even close yesterday. G2 destroyed them. So for KC, I'm cheering if I get that. Will they be the best Group A team? We're about to find out now. Welcome back to Summoner's Rift, and welcome to, as Dagda was saying as well, a hard comp for Vitality, but man, I feel like that's why the Ambessa, the Taliyah, is going to be so important. Maybe early jungle mid is something we have to focus on, Dagda, because how Vitality get ahead and kind of control the pace of these fights is something that Vitality need to do.
And something that Vitality did well yesterday. It was, hey, we're going to get our mid jungle, we're going to attack sides, and we're going to try and find our success against Na'Vi that way. So for Vitality, they have shown that they can do this, and I want to see that same story here. Czajek getting access to these sides, working with Lyncas, setting this game up in a successful way where they can actually get these side lane towers down and enable the Taliyah and the Ambessa.
Well, a quick reminder as well as we roll you into this game is that for Vitality, the reason we've been talking about how big their win was yesterday is because their starting schedule, their loss against Giant X, put them on the back burner. They then had almost 14, it's 13 days off from playing League. They come back after almost 2 weeks. And they face off against Na'Vi. It's really good to see the 2-0 cemented themselves as a potentially strong team. If they can do that damage against KC today, then that fight for top 2 in the group, that fight for a better seeding is still available to them.
Even just getting this win against either KC or MCoy, not only just for the notoriety of being able to take down the top 2 teams, or the expected top 2 teams in the group, but being able to set yourself up with a guarantee that you are going to move on to that cross-play qualifier is just going to be so nice. Still, early game, Caliste and Targamas, good control over this bottom side. This is kind of what you expect with Yunara.
Yep.
She's so good against these short-range AD carries because she can bounce the Q off of those range creeps onto lower-range AD carries.
Yeah.
And it should be in a good spot now.
As you said, the range is quite big. I think a lot of people don't forget, like, was it 625 or something like that? Yunara's range is really decent, and
I think they could have crashed third wave here though and actually set up for a bit more poke.
Yeah.
They kind of did this. When we had Mickey on the last time as well, he was saying he was surprised to see them crash the second wave when they do have this kind of range discrepancy that they can try and punish through. But
yeah.
Either way, should be fine. Both junglers moving down on towards this bottom side. Maybe some action for Lyncas, as I think Fleshy was trying to burn some similar spells, and we'll get one.
And Caliste got his Q activated though, and Fleshy needs to just back right off here. The support who was my MVP for Vitality yesterday. He gets chunked out quite heavily, 265 current health. He's backed off. And you see Lyncas is hovering down that bot side for now, but it's one more engage, and that first blood is looming here in the 2v2 for KC.
Yeah, all members on this bottom side with the jungler now getting involved, but I don't think there's much that they can really do. Again, like Poppy, her early damage is so incredibly strong. And with the push and control that you already have with Targamas on that Tri-Brush, Lyncas just has to abandon ship and go for the top, which again means you get to punish a little bit more here.
Yeah, coming in with a flash at the ready as well. Fleshy gets a quick shattering strike. There's the flash unmatched. Carzzy's out of there, and he's out of there in the nick of time, but look at what you missed. You're just talking about it, Dagda. Massive wave on the horizon, and KC are going to have a gigantic lead from one simple play.
The fact you get a place and deny so much of the CS is huge.
Yeah.
Like, you can see 300 gold essentially kills worth there in the bottom side of the map now for Caliste, and you get this reset back into, hey, you can take your choice of where you want to go on the map as well. This is a really big win for the KC bot lane.
So that singular plate taken, Vampiric Scepter for the trading in lane. Fleshy comes back, and he rather just left the lane, went up, got a deep ward in, which is nice on Raptors, but Carzzy's going to be behind the curve a little bit here as well. Remember that Rakan, one of the best roaming champions too, he can easily match, so bot lane in isolation is going to have a good advantage for KC.
There's not really any way that Vitality can match on the map though. Yike is already recessed, which means that he's up, as you can see, those early items. So if it ends up being a bit more of a confrontation in the mid lane, say, you'll end up with that extra advantage for KC. So Vitality more trying to scare KC from making a play on mid wave and ensure that Czajek can actually bounce that wave effectively.
Well, talk about Yike, he's pathing towards bot. And as Dragon spawns Dagda, you know that feeling when you have to sneeze, but it doesn't come out?
Yeah.
And so you just stuck mid-sneeze?
I'm glad that's not happening to you now.
No, it's not. I'm there, but I need to sneeze, and I need to see this gank happen as well at the same time. Let's see which comes first. It's an entrance. It's Targamas with the knock-up, and Carzzy, he's going to ghost, but he has no flash from the previous play. Fleshy gets into the wall, thanks to Yike. It's a hammer fest, and Caliste gets there first.
This bot lane is falling apart for Vitality. KC have set their sights firmly on getting Caliste ahead, and it is going fantastically for them.
600 gold the lead. We are 5.5 minutes into the game, and Caliste is up. Almost double longsword. Yeah, thank you very much to our production team. I said thank you, observers, yesterday when they showed total gold, and I got a note in my ear. I'm sorry, you know, everyone works hard here. So does Caliste at that note as well. I'm curious to see what he gets on the way back here. Look at where the wave is. Equalizer, meanwhile, Nako. Comet comes down. Canna doesn't flash. Nako holds onto his summoner, but even though he has TP, it's close to a solo kill.
Still, though, it means that you get to clear this wave incredibly fast. Nako will have to TP back to the top side. And I think Canna should have enough time to just walk this back up if he really wants to. And you end up in a spot now where you're a TP advantage thanks to Canna. And Canna has been a shining light for KC. He has been so fantastic on that top side. It's hard not to say that he's looking like the best top laner in the LEC right now.
I feel like we've had that conversation so many times. Like, Canna has been you know, one of the smoothest. And I also feel like if you're looking at shining light for Vitality over the course of this year, Nako's also been there. Like, we give him his credit because he's a very ambitious top laner. He's a playmaking top laner, and even on tanks, I do feel like this guy, you know, even only just debuting, has got a lot of promise.
I 100% agree. The guy has definitely made a name for himself coming into the LEC. It is just going to be a tough time from here against Canna, though, because it just feels like he's on a different level, especially when he's on these comfort picks like the Rumble. But Nako, trading effectively, is kind of overheated.
Wouldn't it be nice if Nako solo killed Canna as we're talking about the levels not being even? All right, let's look towards top. Yike is back again. He doesn't have Hex Flash on this build, but he does have the Keeper's Verdict now up and available.
Canna is still getting control of the wave, making sure that, again, with Yike there, he can push in the wave. And you've got good vision set up already for KC. Canna getting one there on top side. You've got it basically littered the whole way down. Excuse me, sorry, that top side river. And it's just making it difficult for Vitality to get much access to anything. Now, level 6 has been hit for Czajek, which is where my eyes are kind of drifting towards to see if we can get a play with Lyncas towards mid, try and buy some space for Czajek to then get access to these side lanes.
So start getting that movement, because so far there's been no interaction with mid jungle. So far there's been nothing really to speak of from Vitality in this early game. A 1,000 gold lead. And it's basically all sitting on Caliste as he picks up his second plate. Targamas shares in the glory, but it's really the 20 CS lead that I'm now eyeing here with a pickaxe in inventory for Caliste. Makes it very hard for Carzzy to be able to play this early game at all. With Fleshy's constantly roaming, as you'd expect, because what else can he do but sit here and just watch the sadness in lane?
It's a difficult old time on both sides of the map, it looks like.
Yeah, it looks difficult top as well. You're right. Nako, a wall, good buffer though. He sets up with the public execution, but Yike makes it so he goes nowhere. Nako is not okay KO. It's Canna who picks it up. And it's another lane to worry about for Vitality.
Yeah, the fact that Canna ends up getting the kill is fantastic, but also the fact that you get to keep Caliste on the spot side, and he can keep that 2v2 against Carzzy means that they get to punish more as well.
Yep.
It's still effectively what KC wanted, which is a dragon trade for these early Void grubs, but you just get to keep these strong lanes that are working so well for KC.
Void grubs for a Yunara plus, you know, Rumble that can overheat on turrets. I'll say it again, I feel like turret pushing when you have an early lead just seems so broken with this objective. One dragon regardless though, over to Vitality. All 3 grubs now announced across Summoner's Rift as KC pick up those 2.
But I mean, look at the CS scores at the bottom of your screen. It's essentially 10 across every single lane minimum, if not 20 in that top side. It's just KC bullying Vitality in the early stages. And remember, this is a composition from Vitality that wants to find early success to take down side lane turrets so they can try and play out through a 1-3-1.
And they get to that first item, they really want to pull the trigger, but you're right, in this like first 10 minutes, seems a little bit negative now with the flash away. It could be. Vladi steps forward and over the seismic shot from Czajek. Yike was there, so if the soldiers hit, Czajek was dead to make 3.
Vitality trying to scramble now to get vision in this river, force KC back. There's not really much on the map that Vitality can force though at the moment, especially the fact that Vladi didn't end up burning his flash in that mid lane means that he's still not particularly vulnerable to a gank from Lyncas, and no flash on Czajek means that if he tries to make plays onto side lanes, he's actually a little bit more vulnerable on those plays.
2v2 skirmish happening in the meantime though, but Arc of Judgment goes out, goes a bit wide. I love how you were talking about CS leads before. The biggest one that stands out to me that's not actually the biggest one is kind of mid. Because I know a lot of players, you know, look at this Taliyah Azir matchup, and Taliyah is a really good option into Azir in the laning phase. Azir can struggle a bit. I'll hold on that for now. Fleshy with the engagement. Caliste backsteps it. And now with the Arc of Judgment upgraded, evolved, Fleshy in a lot of trouble. Autos flying through with lethal tempo flashes out of misery, but the misery doesn't end there. Here's Yike with his flash up and available into a wall again. Bot lane just cannot breathe in Vitality.
We heard rumors that Carzzy was doing fantastic in scrims, and KC were like, well, that is never going to make it to the main stage. He has been focused hard, and Fleshy has been the one paying as a result.
Man, Yike has been on a tear on this Poppy. Bot lane just about to crumble. That turret at 11 minutes onto its last legs, and Dagda's pointing on the 1.1k gold lead between ADCs. As Caliste's sidestep was nice. Nice
job from Carzzy as well to use the killer instinct to reposition, but you're falling apart here. Caliste is so far ahead, and you've got Yike in position as well. You just can't fight this, and it has been a focused effort from KC to get this bot lane to this position, especially when it was already a difficult matchup it's just gone completely out the window.
And meanwhile, it's not even like, oh yeah, one lane suffering. Nako has been below 300 HP 3 or 4 times in this lane, I swear. Canna has flash as well, by the way. He'll stop the back and solo kill Nako. 2 in the ground for the top lane of Vitality, and Canna is destroying.
Vitality are going to need some sort of life ring in this, something to get them back out, because it's a disaster everywhere. Bot, top, mid is just solo ends up like, well, it's kind of evened up now, but it has been everywhere going in favor of KC.
There's no breathing room. You know, like, man, you're gonna need more than that. You're gonna need an extra boat. 3.5k gold lead. And although mid now looks a little bit red, which is nice for Vitality, it is hard in this game to say anything positive because we talked about the groups and we talked about like the depth of talent. Like KC at the moment, they are undefeated in series for a reason. They've dropped 2 individual games in those series. 1 to GX, 1 to Koi. They win this, they go undefeated, and they will be first seed of Group A to verse the second of Group B. It's super easy, and Caliste, by the way, talk about easy, he just walks up, takes another plate, while Vladi's going to do the same bot.
Czajek's going to potentially die here.
Sidestep, I think potential is going to turn into reality. No wall for you. Yike, again, he's everywhere this game as Lyncas. His defense won't work. There's a sun turret in the way. First turret drops down in the meantime. 5,000, 13 minutes. The French are taking control.
I was about to say there's still some hope. This game isn't over until Lyncas stops singing, but KC they're piling on towards this mid lane alongside.
Maybe the other French can take control as Caliste. He's going to get ultied up, and there's a chance for Carzzy to make it a dive. Nako on turret though. The Arc of Ruin slows them all down, and with his collapse, Targamas keeps him grounded. An ulti again from Vladi that keeps him standing, while Caliste sends out Ruin once more. But Lyncas looking for their first kill. So close on Vladi, so close on Caliste, so close on Targamas, but Vitality are still without a singular kill.
The TPs from KC come in to cover the play. They get the kill, and look at the top side. Canna's just getting the tower. Vitality are throwing anything they can anywhere, and it's just not happening. Again, Targamas, Summoner Spell TP, swapped so we can move in here. Caliste ends up getting the dodge away and the slow, and then the TP from the Azir. Vladi with a huge ultimate off the back of this. Sets up perfectly, and Caliste's AoE just shuts everyone down. Again, Carzzy can't really go toe-to-toe with Caliste because of the range, and the rest of those people are melee. So Caliste is just free to step up to take the fight.
And again, he's such great duelist because Blade of the Ruin King as well. His chase, his sticking pressure because of the slow is unreal. He got it so early, he's now on a Azir, and I'm talking about that. KC are taking yet another objective. I mean, they've taken 2 turrets so far. This is their first dragon, but now looking for enemy objectives. Vitality group up as 4, just trying to defend their own blue buff.
There's nothing in the mid lane, though, when it comes to the wave, so Vitality's still able to somewhat defend. You're going to see them try and poke their heads in to steal this blue buff away from underneath KC.
But what happens if this turns into a fight? Vladi without his ultimate for another 20 seconds, but that'll soon be over. Yike looking for the smite steal to walk in. Lyncas is going to turn on him, flash away, and there's the smite. Okay, Lyncas gets a blue buff. Czajek shares in the glory, and they get the flash from Yike, but they have opened up mid in the meantime, where Caliste is trying to deny as many minions as possible, open up this turret alongside with it.
They won't quite be able to get the turret yet. And Vitality will somewhat defend their own jungle. Actually, the Grump is still there, so they successfully defended.
That's a win.
Still, though, the fact that you're having to fight so hard for your own camps says exactly where this game is at. And now by Nako.
Let's watch this one again. I know how this movie ends. I know. Yeah, he's got a haunting guys as well as the full Leandries, so staying in combat is not advisable for Nako, who's almost 2 levels behind.
Well, I think that's going to be the Rift Herald now for
I think you're not wrong.
KC off the back of it.
Nako has no TP, so I think you're right.
Yeah, and now, again, like, Canna has just been absolutely insane on this pick, and it has been such a strong pick for Canna as well. This is kind of the pick that he made his name on when he came into the LEC as his go-to, and you can see here, the stats are absolutely insane.
I mean, it's super easy to glaze this player, right? But this does feel like an exception over the rule this time. 2,000 the lead. 40 CS the difference. Like, how do you start talking positive about Vitality in this game when we did say, again, they need to get the ball rolling. They need to really snap engage with this mid-jungle duo. It has been hard to cast this opener because
But that was the thing. I was going to say you can have options to, oh, KC go for Dragon, let's see if we can cross map, look for a play there. But they're falling apart, you know, and minutes before the objective actually happens, someone's dying, which means you're not getting the map set up in a way to correctly be able to cross map. And that's where KC have been doing a good job, which is constantly attacking off these pushing waves. You can see, like, you get pushed with Yunara in mid, Vladi pushes bot, and we immediately invade onto this bot side jungle. It's a ton of these little plays that are forcing Vitality out of their comfort zone and been out of those positions where they can try and mount a comeback.
So now let's do a timer check. 2 minutes 30 till next Dragon. Rakan comes in shortly after that. Sides are constantly pushed as Canna will be going back to his top lane, but holding with the Sun Turret is Vladi. Well, Vitality have to hover just in case because of how dangerous their own jungle is. They don't know where anyone is. Was a reset from KC, but regardless, those are the precautions they're now taking, knowing that they need that extra man advantage to find any kind of fight and get their first kill.
It's desperation from Vitality. Everyone's grouping on this mid wave. You see Nako over in there, hoping he can get the public execution onto an unexpected Caliste. It's just opening up Rumble to push in this top side. And now Nako has to respond to that top wave that's been pushed in, which then moves multiple members of KC back to take this mid lane turret. Vitality just aren't being given any leeway in this game.
At least they are in the meantime denying a bot wave, but it does mean that with KC moving towards mid, with Herald getting a charge, it might not just be limited to one. Look at where Canna is as well with the Weaver's Wall. That stops and holds the play for now. At 500 HP, the Herald's going to drop before getting mounted once again, and Canna doesn't come in for the flank, so it's simply the mid turret for now. Targamas gets tagged out, rather not. It was close. It looks like the height had a difference to that as KC back off.
I think about a bit of blessing disguise for Vitality because you don't want this.
Yeah, I don't know if you do. I'm thinking Lyncas is ultied out. Yike is holding his, disengages. They're engaged, and with the quickness in, even though it looks okay for Vitality, they need to finish off the kills. Vladi looking for a road. He's got his ulti, he's got his flag. He'll walk on the footpath for now, because that's all he needs to do.
I don't know if Vitality thought that multiple members of KC weren't there, but you just cannot take these fights right now. You're too far behind in gold. You have to try and play smarter on the map. But KC are just catching them every time they try to make a play.
Also, it was Targamas. It's a Rakan, and they just didn't have the burst to finish off that said support. So it ends up being a 7-0. Here we go, ulti sent out, Caliste. I mean, he had cleanse. Maybe he does die there, but the attempt from Nako is not going to be enough.
Yeah, you have to try and fish for anything here as Vitality. Maybe you can slow down KC if you get it. But again, I don't know if they spotted that Canna was here. Maybe they thought he was somewhere else. I thought they just spotted him there, but Lyncas is going really aggressive. And these choke points are perfect for things like the Rumble, the Azir. You can see Targamas setting up well there with the engage. They're just not able to deal the damage that they need to, especially for guys like Carzzy, who's so short range.
Stuff again that Vladi knows he doesn't have to commit. No committing ulti before the Dragon either. Yeah, a lot of damage from top and AD carry, but Vladi hasn't really had to be in many fights. He's just been farming up as Azir's do, and now the Dragon starts. Vitality nowhere to be found. They're looking more towards the top side for now, seeing if Canna over pushes, but of course he will not.
Just pushes the wave out a little bit so they can't try and get to the turret and then backs on the way to keep themselves safe. Again, this is what we're saying, like the moments for Vitality to try and cross map are just so few and far between because KC have been able to attack them about a minute 30 to a minute out from these major objectives. 2 Dragons now, Baron going to be up in about 5 minutes time, but still I think KC just scrape away the last of, well, Rakan and these outer turrets and then just fall back to the Baron once it spawns.
Now Vitality are hoping this is a mega throw, but KC, it's hard to believe how that's going to work. Fleshy coming from a unique angle from the bot side, but Canna now coming in from top. Nako's going to have to get an ulti of the gods. Fleshy is dying to a Sun Turret and an Azir. The all-in again, a wall presents itself, and Lyncas at half HP. Equalizer beautifully placed, and KC are running him down again. This time Targamas pops his own ulti, and there will be no escape for Nako. Breakout step is still burning him down. The victory lettuce on the side will result of nothing of the sort. And this game in the toilet because Vitality have not been able to get any breathing room from the start to now. They got a singular kill, Dagda, but that's it.
They were trying desperately to do anything, and Carzzy had to even flash into his death just to pick off Targamas at the end of that fight to make sure they got something. But Vitality, they're hoping for anything, but Vladi forces Fleshy out here, back underneath the Sun Disc, so he ends up taking a ton of damage. Yike gets a good engage here, thanks to the help from Targamas on towards Lyncas. Great Rumble ultimate breaks up the fight and sends Czajek into the waiting hands of Vladi. And Nako, nice here, where he uses the ultimate to actually reposition and escape away for a moment. We see here, Carzzy gets knocked in, flashes in just to try and finish off Targamas. And KC members essentially unscathed as they chase down the rest of them.
I mean, this does feel like it's happy gaming for KC, but not like the BLG version, you know? It is just happy times for all. It's 21 minutes, a 10k gold lead. And yeah, move to game 2. That's what they're thinking. And I think it was said, you know, it was said yesterday by Lyncas on desk. It's been said by all of us a lot. I feel like there's a lot of games where you look at them in like, well, maybe a front-to-back draft, whatever version you can cook up of it, a simpler to execute draft would have just been the get-go.
I don't think you can give a team that is as good at team fighting as KC is Rumble, Azir, and Yunara.
I mean, that is also very true. I look at left and I see Exodia, and I'm just like, hang on a minute. How did they get Azir, Rumble, Yunara? And then Poppy against this comp also feels really nice when a comp wants to dive. You know?
Yeah, it's also like, in general, I think in LEC, we don't utilize Taliyah for all of her strengths, and you can kind of see Vitality struggled to get her out towards side lanes in the early stages as well.
True.
I think we should be valuing Azir just higher in general because of the way the region plays, and KC kind of correctly identified that in the draft.
Lyncas is getting half HP by a Poppy. That's the state of the game right now. Round and round, Lyncas ult sets up. The Arclight of Ruins there again. Beautiful engage. Targamas does it so easily with Rakan. Caliste chasing them down. He gets over the wall with an untouchable shadow. And Fleshy thinks he's out for now, even though the Arclight of Ruins not aimed at his way to heal through. But Caliste is speeding down. Back again with Judgment. And Fleshy will be judged severely. Kill number 14. And this game getting closer to finally ending.
And Barrett isn't even up yet. They're just going to crack the base. It looks like here, although Zhao, oh no.
Vladi clean as anything. What do I say at this point, Dagda? What do I say? This game was a total and utter stomp. Nay, I won't even use the word stomp. This was a massacre. And Vitality need to bring out something either unique or simpler for game 2. Because right now, KC, you give them something that scales, they'll still play good early game. You give them something that can team fight, they'll still play good skirmishing, Dagda. It's a glaze session for KC, at least for game 1.
Yeah, it won't quite be the fastest game. We still have the 18-minute one that came through versus Navi, but still.
Oh, well.
Vitality struggling here. Again, like Yike, unstoppable here, and great engage from Targamas. This is what we were kind of talking about, is you can't dash to Poppy to be that engage tool. But really well played, and even Lyncas, poor lad, burnt down just off the back of the Rumble ultimate. The red carpet laid out. And KC are walking that straight into the base of Vitality.
You know what the hardest thing about games like this are? Like, if you had to give MVP, if we were back in best of 1, right?
A man can dream.
A man can dream. True. You're going to have to really, really close your eyes and hope. It's like, imagine if we're in best of 1 and you had to give MVP based off this, you'd be like, bro, what do I do?
To be fair, though, I think Yike has a fantastic game.
He has, but then so is Caliste. And
I do agree, but I think Yike did a great job to set a lot of that up.
Yeah,
right?
Yike has been kind of insane. You're not wrong.
And I think for a man who has taken some criticism for how his early games have gone, I think it's nice to see him having a game and a performance like this now.
Vladi in, golden. That's the Sonya's. He's still tagged out. There's going to be a full-on dive, but there's no commit. Carzzy doesn't want to go in because he knows it's worthless. And Fleshy can't even get the engage off. Yike stops him. Meanwhile, Targamas, this guy got his quickness on, his exhaust out, and Lyncas, he's not going to make it out. KC will run down, and in 25.5 minutes, Vitality get 19-1. Carzzy sent back to base, and you know what? This is still one hell of a fast game. KC on the final Nexus turret, and Dagda, Vitality are just trying for kill number 2.
Absolutely insane. KC gonna get held up a second here, but should be fine.
It's a new wall. It's a new day. Yike, Smurf. And that was not even close. That was destruction incarnate.
Incredible game from KC.